Hello, I'm Callum McLeod with the 60-second news update from GUST. Last week saw the QMU host a large anti-cuts rally. Students and staff gathered in kudos to hear speakers' objections to the university's planned £20 to £30 million budget cuts. Representatives from both student unions and SRC President Tommy Gore were in attendance. The coming weeks look to be busy for student democracy as both SRC and rectorial elections are forthcoming. On the 16th, there will be a meeting of both rectorial candidates in the debates chamber of the GUU. Dundonian comedian and writer A.L. Kennedy will be challenging Charles Kennedy for the position. The Glasgow University Guardian has resolved its discussions with the SRC over editorial control and is back in print. No official comment has been made on what the issues were that caused problems or how they were resolved. Glasgow University managed to make the front page of the Herald on Wednesday the 9th. The newspaper covered the proposed budget cuts and their impact on academic departments such as nursing, social work and adult education. A fire on Sauchiehall Street has caused serious structural damage. Repair work is taking place and a large area of the street has been cordoned off. That's all for now. See you next week.
Hello, I'm Georgia.
And I'm Jericho.
And welcome to Paper Round, a derisive glance at the poorest excuses for news stories in the papers.
In a world where war, disease, injustice, poverty and exploitation seem to form an unstoppable wave of misery and depression, it's heartening to know that journalists still have enough time on their hands to fill column inches with worthless drivel.
While other papers were trifling with the massive unprecedented political upheaval in Egypt last week, we looked to The Sun, which had bigger fish to fry, with front page news that a professional footballer was seen snogging a woman who was not his girlfriend. The intrusive feature on the girl in question was made hilarious rather than immoral by the fact that she had been at a fancy dress party dressed as a cat.
The Herald reports on a Subway sandwich shop in Edinburgh being fined £4,000 after mouse droppings were discovered in it. In other words, institutions in place to maintain hygienic food handling worked exactly as they were meant to. This brings with it the chilling implication that workers in soulless minimum wage jobs aren't quite as scrupulous and enthusiastic as their managers might hope.
In the Daily Express, we learn that a survey of 3,000 cat and dog owners revealed that many of them enjoy having a pet. In what was believed to be an attempt at humour, readers were advised not to buy their animals flowers for Valentine's Day.
The Daily Mail brings news that a 26-year-old man was seen on a night out. The man, Harry Windsor, was seen looking a bit drunk and wearing a shirt. This story apparently needed 2/3 of a page to report properly.
The National Lottery, a game in which people occasionally win large sums of money, made waves in the evening times when an unidentified player won a large sum of money.
The Daily Record, among others, lets the nation down by implying that Simon Cowell received a scar to his face, only to reveal that it was actually a fancy dress, nearly as pathetic as the paper's coverage of it.
Shocking revelation on page 3 of the Daily Star, as Russell Brand, the human manifestation of irritable bowel syndrome, lets on that his marriage to Katy Perry is nice, and remarks upon how ordinary it is. Excuse me while I fall off the edge of my seat.
Britain's sexiest MP was revealed in the Daily Mirror as a woman whose face doesn't look that much like a smacked arse. The merits of the competition can be summed up by the fact that Harriet Harman was second place. The Mirror had made no report as yet on Britain's strongest baby or most eloquent dog.
I joins in with a number of other papers in an orgy of coverage on Emma Watson, who is of legal age to fantasize about having sex with, and has been seeing things like walking and breathing at the recent BAFTAs.
The Times deals with complaints that children's TV character Rasta Mouse is a harmful influence and could potentially encourage the use of slang. This would, of course, be disastrous.
Were you having stellar sex this Valentine's Day? Well, don't try interstellar sex, warns The Independent, as the chances are good that conception would be much less likely, not to mention difficult, in zero gravity. Now that's news you need to know.
And finally, the Metro feels it worthy to report that Jessie J's single Price Tag has reached a second week in the charts, a distinction achieved by well over 500 other songs in the last few decades.
Well, that's all the excitement I can bear this week.
Until next time.
Stay out of trouble.